Welcome again to the African American Arts Gallery. We are located in Omaha, Nebraska, not just Omaha, Nebraska, North Omaha, Nebraska, the inner city, the heart of the city, the soulful part of the city. We are in the soul of the city. Yes, there is a soul of the city in Omaha, Nebraska, as you can see, and we're representing today. I'm here once again with one of our most talented, I won't even say up and coming because he's already up and he's already here. One of our most talented, I'm going to say creatives in our city, multifaceted, multidisciplined creative. Uh, I'll do that so he doesn't have to. He can remain humble. Our very own Kevin Kabore. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me.
Good,
Yeah.
good. I'm glad to have you. I'm going to act like I don't know you, act like we haven't
Yeah,
spoken.
let's do it.
But we left some. We haven't spoken about everything.
Yeah, we have.
We have intentionally
We've not spoken that much.
left some meat on the bone for this moment right here.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's a pleasure.
December 2024. Glad that you're here. We're glad that you accepted coming in and doing a short residency for us
Thank you for having me.
and putting an exhibition on for us. Uh, this is incredible. Been a learning experience, right?
Yeah.
So thank you for letting us learn with you. You are our third exhibition, and man, it's a labor of love.
Yeah.
Heavy on the labor.
I think it's fun work.
Fun work.
Fun work. Yeah. It's not like stressful work. It's just like wow. And
Good.
yeah.
Because you're doing most of it. So I'm glad you say that.
It is like thank you for the opportunity because
Absolutely.
it was cool. I'm glad you didn't give me a theme and like made me figure it out because it really like forced me to like
Okay.
think. It's easy if someone's like, here's the theme, then I can just like pick and choose. But
Okay.
it was cool. It was like a blank canvas.
So let's do this while they're watching.
Yeah.
Let them have your IG so they can look at some of your work while we talk.
My Instagram is _ Kabuckets, KABUCKETS.
Okay, underscore Kabuckets on
Instagram,
Instagram.
YouTube, Facebook. I should post more on there, but
Okay.
yeah, on everything.
Okay. So now they'll kind of understand when you say funneling your work or editing your work
Yes.
for this particular exhibition.
Yes.
And so you chose to show what?
I chose to show my favorite images, a lot of images, because I've been lucky enough to travel. I was born in Burkina Faso, West Africa. So like
Okay.
a lot of my photos are from like West Africa or East Africa. There's a few from like Omaha, New York, and Colorado, but like most of it is like from different places in Africa.
Okay. Name the country again.
Burkina Faso
Burkina Faso
and Rwanda.
and Rwanda.
Yeah.
Are they sister cousins?
They're not even close. They're
Not
like,
even close.
not even close. Like different sides of continents.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I just went there like different periods of time and I just
Gotcha.
like had the photos.
Okay.
Yeah. And
What age did you come over?
I came when I was 3.
3.
Yeah.
All right.
So
All right. Do you have dual residency, dual citizenship?
no, I just have citizenship here.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Something you're thinking about, considering ever, or not really necessary with
I'm not
passports?
really, not really necessary with like passports now.
Right.
Yeah, I don't really, and I grew up here, so it's like
Okay.
it's kind of tough.
How often do you get back to the continent?
I went back. I think last year I went back. I was there 2020 and then 2018.
So if you came over when you were 3,
Yes,
what age was it when you went back? So the first time?
2018. So like a lot of these photos, like the cool thing is, it was like my first time back. So like everything was like new. I was like 19 or 20. So
Any
like
memories though
from living there,
from being that young?
not really.
Not really.
Not really. Like not like fragments of memories, but
Sure.
nothing like concrete.
Right.
Yeah. So it was like everything was just new.
Everything was new. Did it feel so when you went back to your birthplace? Did it feel like that was your birthplace though? Was there any kind of euphoric like,
It was like
or was it more cerebral?
it was more my parents and uncles and aunts used to like tell stories. And like I thought they were being dramatic or like when they would describe things.
Right.
But seeing it, I was like, oh, I know like what they're talking about now. Or, like,
Okay.
where this happened or like because like there was my imagination like painted a picture. But
Right.
seeing it in real life, I was like, okay, that's what
Okay.
happened.
Did you feel ownership of the land you were on? Almost like I'm home. I was born
It
here.
was it was weird seeing that much black people.
Right.
Like everyone there was black. Like
Yeah.
and I've like living in Omaha for most of my life.
Right.
I hadn't experienced that. Like,
Far contrast from
and it was like we were driving, and I saw a dentist office, and his secretary was black, and that's what really I was like, wow, like
Yep.
I never noticed that it was a thing.
Right.
Like everyone just looked like me.
Right.
Like was well, that was kind of cool.
So did you feel that as though you blended into culture there, almost like you didn't stick out, like you
No,
were
they could tell. They
really?
can tell. They can tell if just like I don't know if it's the way we carry ourselves, the way we dress. You can like tell,
Really?
like very easy. Like
Really?
yeah.
What did people say or do that indicated to you that they could tell?
So when I went, my brother had been there for maybe like 7 months before. So it is my little brother. So like the way people try and play me, he could tell because he was there long enough to be like, nah.
Okay.
Yeah, like I went to a store and I wanted to pay for something. They told me the price, and I'm used to just like paying the price. And he just snaps it out of my hand like, "What do you do?" Like you gotta like negotiate, and it's like the culture is like different.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. So
culturally,
but visually, you didn't
visually,
stand out.
yes, based on like
Was it dress?
I think dressing and the way you like walk.
The
Like,
way you walk?
yeah,
Yeah.
because I was there with like sneakers and pants, and like when it was cold to them, it was hot for me.
Really?
Yeah, like 60, 70 degrees. I'm wearing a t-shirt.
And they were
like
cold.
they're cold, like with jackets. So they're like, this guy's not for me. Yeah.
Wow.
But like even though we look the same
Sure.
on paper,
Sure.
like they could like, yeah.
Right.
Which was like to me, I was like, yeah.
You're
I
like,
didn't get it till later.
you're like, I'm home. We're one.
Yeah,
And they're
yeah.
looking at you like, no, we're
Yeah, they would
not.
look at me like, yo, like they'll come and be like, what's up, American? Or like, what's up, my guy? Or like say what they knew from American culture. Oh, which was like,
You stood out.
stood out.
How did that make you feel though in that moment to be at your birth site, but treated as an American or even recognized as an
Yeah.
American? How did that make you feel?
It was just like, at that point, I was like so young, but like I didn't really care.
It didn't even, you didn't even take it
I
in.
didn't even take it in. It
Right.
wasn't until like, yeah, at 18, 19, I was like, okay. Like I
Right.
didn't really like process that.
One time we went out of the country, like the guys here,
Mhm.
we were in Canada of all places, but it was we're there for NBA All-Star Weekend in
Mhm.
Toronto, but it was during Caravana. So we didn't know anything about Caravana and all that, right? Found out on
I
Caravana.
don't even know what that is.
Like Carnival.
Oh, like the Brazilian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was Carnival Weekend. OVO Fest. Caravana
Yeah.
and NBA All-Star Weekend all in one.
Oh,
So we're there for All-Star Weekend and all this other stuff is happening. And we're like, what in the world is going on? I mean, great look for Toronto.
yeah.
And it's probably not like that all the time,
Yeah.
but we just went at the right time.
So it was like, well,
So when Caravana was going on, everybody was wearing the colors of their native country. Right. So we went to this brunch
mhm.
and you go by a table on your way in and they had t-shirts like Toronto, the Tower, and just the Needle,
Yeah.
different things in your country's colors. And you check in, they're like, okay, what colors are, what colors do you want? Where you from? And we're like, oh, we're from the States. We're from, Omaha. Where He said, no, where you from? We're like, yeah, the US. He said, no, but what country are you from? We're like, America. He was like, where in Africa are you from? So you get your colors. And we were like, and then he saw we didn't get it. And there was a very uncomfortable moment.
That's a real thing.
There was a very uncomfortable moment. I can feel it right now as I'm telling you because I didn't know. None of us knew. And we're like, and he was like, and he felt bad.
Yeah.
So he was like, oh, my bad, my bad. We have American right here. And I was like, I don't want it.
I don't want it.
He was like, no, I didn't mean. I said, no, I understand.
Yeah.
And I was like, and I felt such negligence in that moment, irresponsibility. I'm in my 40s and I had never done any kind of research to figure out where I was from.
I'm from the other side. So like I know what he meant completely because there's people that like he didn't mean it. I know he didn't mean it ill because
not at all. He didn't.
Yeah, there's people that grew up here that are from somewhere else and they just want to skip the conversation.
Okay.
So instead of like explaining, oh, where are you from? They're like, oh, where's that? And this is like, they're like, they will just be like Omaha. So like it's immigrants. Like I can look at someone and be like, you're from West Africa or East Africa, and I ask them where they're from, and then they'll tell me like, oh, I'm from like Canada. I'm like, bro, like I know
Right.
that like you are not from Canada,
Right.
but like
Right.
they might not know I am. So like they might be like, he looks like he could be African American. Like he might just be like,
So you wait. So when you tell them where you're from, does
I'm
that
like, I'm from
relax
Burkina
them?
Faso, and they're like, oh, I'm from there.
See.
So
Okay.
like, so like that happens so often where people just don't want to say where they're
Why
from.
not? Do you think?
I think it's just like they're so used to like explaining the same thing over and over
Gotcha.
again.
It's easier not
It's
to.
just easier to be like, I have friends that are Chinese foreign exchange students.
Right.
They will tell you their name is like Rocky because
Right.
they don't want to be like what their real name, and then like, oh, how do you say? They just don't want to deal with it.
Really?
So it's similar, like
Yeah. It was,
yeah.
man, it was an experience.
But
We sat there in silence,
but I understand from
ordering
your
for a
point.
while. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I felt bad that he felt bad, but it was my fault. I felt. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We're supposed to be having
Because I've
fun,
never thought of it from the other
experiencing
side.
culture, and
That's
he
so
felt
cool.
so bad because he kept pressing it. Like,
Yeah.
no, I got you. Wherever you're from, I got it.
Yeah.
And then when we said the state, he was saying, "Oh," when he's like, "What continent?" We're like, "Oh," I was like, "I don't know." He's like, "Oh,
Yeah.
apologies, but we got U.S. right here."
Yeah.
You know, and I was like, at that point,
Yeah. That makes me think differently because like hearing it from your perspective is cool. Because like
oh man, we
from
sat there
yeah.
quiet. It was a good group of us. None of us knew.
And especially since like you guys all look young, it's like common for like young people to like not want to deal with it. So
Okay,
he was like, maybe it's these young people that like are too cool or don't want to
he was
say.
younger than us.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so we came back. We all did the work, used various different
Yeah.
agencies, to find our heritage. And I can say now I'm Nigerian and Cameroonian primarily.
That's cool.
You know what I mean?
That's
So
cool.
I can choose my colors if I, in that
You
circumstance.
could be like Pitt.
So not knowing that was, I'm going to go further. I want to do the AfricanAncestry.com
Yeah.
to let me know, to pinpoint the region and the tribe and those kind of things, just so I know. You know what I mean? If I ever visit, when I visit the motherland, I want to go to those areas if it's a good time, politically and it's safe, that kind of thing. Yeah, I want to go.
See, because like I remember coming here in elementary school, you get roasted for being African. It was
Right.
like it's not cool.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, it's not cool until like recently.
Yeah,
So, like
now, oh yeah.
So like everyone that was like it's not cool was never cool. You're just used to like
You have to. I won't say any names, but you got to send an offering to your musicians.
exactly
Motherland to make it cool to be
like they gotta be like, oh, like all of them made it cool, so now people are like interested.
Right.
Versus like, so I think people that grew up in that era.
Isn't that something about music though? That's been one of the major things to kind of bridge that and marry us back to our home continent.
It makes it powerful.
Really, I mean, to look at music as a tool for what it really is done, even if it wasn't intentional.
Exactly.
The fact that, streaming,
Yes.
and our culture now, our cyber culture has bridged that. And we're influenced by one another and finding one another's music. That music was the primary thing that knit
And I
us
think
back.
like music, I think like even like in the internet, because I feel like most people when they see Africa, they see like feed a kid for a penny. So like that's what they think. So then like I think now like more movies and like just like people visiting is becoming like more popular. They're like, oh, it doesn't look like the trenches.
No, there are a couple of social media guys, for better or worse, have showed us the other side of Africa, what it means to be buying Lambos, once a week and those kind of things. I can't remember the guy's name. I think he ended up getting in a little trouble, but there have been a couple of them to show us like the mansions and the waterfront properties and the opulence and the beauty of like the terrain and the animals and I just see native Africans walking around in the bush, having made these relationships with gorillas and lions and hyenas and to live in harmony with the nature there is so far from prize hunting. You understand what I'm saying?
Even now people know that it's so like big that like like East Africa, like Rwanda and Burkina, so different
Okay.
and so far
Right.
that it's like it's in the same continent, but like everything about it is completely different.
Right.
Which is like it's cool that now people are like more understanding. Like, oh wow,
I've only learned of late, within the last decade, even about the size of the maps
yeah, being wrong.
being wrong. That America could so many times fit inside the continent of
And
Africa,
China, like so many things can like fit in.
and they've reduced the size of Africa to make it look smaller, so the others appear larger. Like I won't get
Yeah.
into that, but
So
that
like
is
so now like now that people are understanding when people say they're from like the complete other side, it's almost like someone saying they're from like
London
London.
to LA.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then like
No,
nothing.
I don't go back and
Exactly.
forth.
Exactly.
Yeah.
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 So
No, I don't travel between
the
all.
food is not the same. Like nothing's the same. Like
Right. So how did all of this inform I'll say your photography, but you do more than photography, you do videography. Like what are some of the disciplines that you
do I'll say like mostly photography, videography, like some like 3D stuff. I studied fine art was my first major, so like I had to like paint. I don't have the patience to paint, but like if I had to, I could.
okay?
But like I would say like mostly like photography, videography.
Were you always artsy? Like as a
It's
young
always
person?
artsy, yeah.
Really?
It's actually like so Burkina Faso is the capital. It's like the biggest film festival in all of Africa. Is in
Really?
Burkina Faso.
Really?
So like my dad was a documentarian and like a musician and like a audio producer. My mom was like a video editor. My uncle's a photographer. My other uncle's a photographer and musician. So like everyone in my family is like very like creative.
Okay.
So like when I was 3, I had a camera. I remember always having like a computer to like tinker with. So
Right.
like for as long as I can remember.
So an art contest, it wasn't even fair. You were kind of
It
cheating.
was just kind of yeah, just like
Yeah.
everyone is
You're a generational.
exact yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
like which is cool because some places in Africa, like art isn't as big as the culture. I'm lucky where I'm from, it's like a big part of the culture. There's like art festivals, it's just like there. So like some people in very close countries, they're like, you need to be a doctor or a lawyer or you're a failure. But like I'm in a region where it's like you can be an artist. It's like I'm kind of free to like explore.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. And did you ever think you would find your way professionally where you are now?
No.
I mean, obviously, but from 3 till however old you are now, in a
26.
26,
Yeah.
23 years later, different country, obviously, than where you're from, which is an arts country.
Yeah.
And then even here in this country, the arts have changed so much lately with technology.
Yeah.
Like, how did you weave
It was
through the
honestly my parents.
transitions to?
So like my dad's a pastor now, but before he was like when he was doing that, he was like really good. So he was like traveling like Switzerland, Sweden, Africa, I mean New York, other places in Africa. So he's like traveling the world from Burkina Faso doing like art. So like he always told me from like a young age, like get really good and then everything else will like come from it. And then like my house is full of like artists, so it's critiques. So like art critiques.
Okay.
You show them something, everyone has like valid constructive criticism.
Right.
That's like annoying. So it's like you just are used to people being like, your exposure's bad. Like it's not like you suck. It's like you should have did this is better and it's bad. To this day, I don't really show. My mom came here, she's like, you could have thought like this is just
Right.
where I come from. So,
Sure,
like,
sure, sure.
I think that made me always think of like how to do things better because that's just the norm.
Right.
And then for like most of those years, I was like, I don't know how you monetize like getting better. But then like after a while, people notice and then like opportunities just like come from it. So that's
So
been
it's literally been refined. So when people say, iron sharpen iron, well, with you, it's been literal.
yeah, literally. And it's like whenever I think of that,
Were they nice when you were 6 or 7, or was it
it's I don't know.
still was it
I was
critique
mad.
like
Yeah.
okay,
But like the critique, like
softer than gentler?
it's
No,
like less critique. And then like the better I get, the more like critique.
really good.
Yeah. Even to
Good.
this day, it's like the last video I showed my dad. He's like, okay, technically this is good, but like, what was your message saying? So now, like, so every
Another level.
another level, yeah,
That's incredible though that you're getting that kind of tutelage and mentorship you're apprenticing for free, like
Yeah. Yeah.
with a master in their
Yes.
craft. Like
Yes, because they did everything that like I thought I wanted to do. So like they've been able to like kind of guide me. Like, oh, when this opportunity comes, they're able to like see it from like being in my shoes and like can like
that's
kind of
incredible.
like judge. And I've been lucky that like I think people can feel when you're genuinely just trying to get better and learn.
Right.
And then like people just want to help you when that's your like when that's your goal. It's
Right.
just to like get better for yourself, but not like, oh, I'm trying to be better than you. People can feel it and then like Edison Creative, like Dave Nelson, people in Omaha that I'm like I looked up to like, oh, you did this? I like have come along the way and then always like give me opportunities like yeah. So it's just I just feel blessed.
Is it like how do you hold back? So we can see
Food.
what's the commercial where they help you not be like your parents? You know the guy that
Oh yes.
helps
Yeah.
the young. They're like,
Yeah.
oh yeah. He's like, you're not gonna say that.
Yeah.
We're not doing
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How do you hold back then doing the same thing with your peers and friends?
I do. They know if they ask me, I'm gonna tell them the truth.
Got you.
So like just don't ask me if you don't want to.
Okay, okay.
This is kind of the vibe.
Do you ever look at it and you can't turn it off? Like, hey, look what I did. And you're like, this. Is it automatic or is it
And also
you appreciate it for what?
I can appreciate for what it is because like it also depends on like why are you showing me? Are you like really proud? Are you like trying to learn? So I think depending on the person,
Got you.
like only my close friends, I will like do that too, and they do that to me. So like we hold each other
So
accountable.
if they ask for it, you take out the Hattori Hanzo.
There's like maybe 3 or 4 people that I would be like that I would do that to
Right.
and do that to me back.
Because you understand it's for the perfecting of
Yeah.
and for getting
Yeah.
refining.
Yeah, but like
Yeah.
only those people show me stuff. Too.
Got you.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen something maybe professionally, been to a movie or seen a documentary or something, and you're like, oh, terrible. Why'd they cut like that? What are they doing?
Yeah,
Who
you can't
edited
turn it
it?
off. It's hard.
You can't turn it
Yeah,
off.
yeah, so it's hard. I think like luckily now the bigger projects I get it because when it's your project, you can do whatever. So you, of course, it can be like how you want it. When it's a bigger project and producers, it might not be in your control. They might have no time. They might just have to like rush it out. So now I sympathize more. I'm like, who like messed this movie up? It's not usually the artists. It's usually like the people with the money that mess it up. Because there's been videos now that I've done that I won't tag myself because like I know what it should have been, and then a client is like, "We don't have time," or like they. At the end of the day, the client needs to be happy.
Right.
Like whatever you want, I'll give you, even if I don't.
Right.
I don't
They like it.
necessarily
There
like
it
it.
is.
Yeah.
Right.
So now with movies, I view it like I get it.
Right.
But at first, I was like, I don't know why they did this.
So when we were talking about doing this show, you were saying number one, it was quite a task to edit for this show.
Mhm.
And then number two, you included your family in on helping you edit. And
Yeah.
what was that like? That
It was
part of the
cool.
process.
It's weird because most of my work lives online. Like this, maybe the first second time I really like printed my work. So some things look good on Instagram that like don't make sense in a gallery format.
Interesting.
And like my parents and family, they just have like seen so much of my stuff. So they could like honestly be like, you have better version of this. Or like, I know you have better stuff of this. So like, because
Interesting.
not everyone has seen, I have like archives full of stuff. So, but they have seen like the coolest, the best stuff just by being around me. So, like my parents, my girlfriend, like my little cousin, they're like the ones that like know
Right.
if this is like, if this should make the cut or not.
Have you ever done anything that surprised either your parents or your family in a good way?
Yeah.
Where they're like, okay, like you're getting it. All right. Like
Yeah,
that.
but I feel like everyone, like they all just try and keep me humble.
Got
But like they might, they won't. I feel like they won't let me know.
You're like, I know it's better than what they're letting on to.
Yeah, for sure. Like they might be like, what would they say? They're like, oh wow, and then that's it.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay, that one was fire because It's usually the no critiques that I killed it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because everything else has critiques.
Gotcha.
If they don't say anything, it's like,
Gotcha.
yeah.
Well, thank you for letting us have your first show.
No, thank you. This has been great.
And if it's okay with you, we'll walk around and
Yeah.
I'll just ask you a couple of questions about a couple of the pieces. But man, I greatly appreciate it. And hopefully this won't be your last show with us.
Oh, thank you so much.
And we'll talk more.
Let's do it.
We'll have to do it on the podcast, though.
I'm down.
All right.
No,
Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
All right, y'all. Hey, the incomparable Kevin Kabore.